It's just shit.
She had lyrics that were white supremacist and racist and dog whistle.
White Christian nationalist.
Today I want to talk about Taylor Swift because somehow her name has turned into a political loyalty test. One side calls her a secret MAGA conservative, which of course must mean that she is a racist, sexist, homophobic bigot, and the other side calls her a feminist puppet. And a sellout who has been turned into the left's political weapon. Both are very interesting accusations that we will discuss, and both sides are convinced that they are right, as always. So it's strange how someone who writes love songs can reveal so much about our culture, how divided we are. At least that becomes apparent when you look on TikTok, because when you look at this controversy surrounding Taylor, her new album, the reactions expose a lot. The labeling, right? The outrage, the exhaustion. We're seeing what so many people quietly feel and are starting to say out loud. The fatigue of living in a world where every opinion, every purchase, every friendship, even silence has to mean something ideological. People want to belong to a tribe we know, even if that tribe stops thinking and just searches for its next reason to be offended. It's political caveman behavior disguised as moral superiority, or at least trying to appear morally superior. And people are tired of labels, tired of purity tests. Everything is called racist, homophobic, sexist. Everything has to be political. It's always black and white. You're either on board fully with modern day feminists, or you hate women. There's no in between. You can't critique an artist without being labeled a hater, for example. In Taylor's case, a sexist. I guess because she's a woman, which means you can't critique her music. Even the ones who still perform this outrage are quietly burned out. The more I look at how we talk about figures like Taylor Swift, people who are so famous and influential, right? Or how we react to real political violence, the clearer it becomes. The problem isn't just politics or how people interpret art through a certain lens. It's the performance of it, the way people use it as an identity, as a costume, and it has gone too far. Taylor Swift can't win, neither can you. No one can anymore. But let's start with Taylor. As you may know, her newest album, The Life of a Showgirl, has sparked a storm online. Now, I listened to it. I reviewed it. Now, even many of her own fans are admitting, wow, this isn't very good.
That was terrible.
Every eldest daughter was the first lamb to the slaughter, so we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. That's not good writing.
It's just shit.
I'm not a fan either, and I've never understood her popularity, but I will come to her defense today because of these insane accusations. Many found a way to be offended. Of course they did. They always do. It's predictable, really. But let's start with what Taylor is being accused of in the first place. The singer has been dragged for maintaining a friendship with this woman named Brittany, wife of NFL star Patrick Mahomes, who controversially liked an Instagram post about the 2024 GOP platform. Swift endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris, but didn't disavow her friend, who presumably is conservative. Well, already you can see Taylor Swift is basically Hitler.
Taylor girl, you about to be in trouble in a second. Because you're out here hanging with Republicans. And not just any kind of Republican, MAGA Republicans.
God forbid the singer demonstrates that you can be friends across party lines. What a terrible lesson. Exactly.
If 10 people are sitting at a table and one of them is a Nazi and the other 9 people are not telling the Nazi to f*** off, then you're at a table with 10 Nazis. When Taylor Swift first started dating Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce was so open about his respect for Donald Trump, I already knew we were reaching the beginning of the end, right? When she was posting photos with other like NFL wives and girlfriends or whatever, and they were all open MAGAs, and Taylor was happily posing with them on Instagram, I knew we were at the beginning of the end.
So who wants to talk about the fact that Taylor Swift is just casually hanging out with white Christian nationalists?
There's also this claim of eugenics that we'll get into regarding being friends with people you may disagree with politically. Let's take a moment and listen to the Swiftologist. I watched some of his reactions in my last video. I think he had some very interesting takes, some genuinely funny reactions, so...
Taylor taking pictures with MAGA people at parties. I don't care. I don't care. I don't understand this insistence that people have on Taylor not ever associating with anyone that has ever been MAGA. I hate to break it to most of the people on the internet, but like when you are a human being and you are out interacting with people in the world, you're going to interface with people whose ideologies do not align with yours, whose ideologies may be repulsive, but that does not give you the right to, I don't know, behave like some sort of heathen. You scream in their face, demand them to delete pictures. And if you are one of those people that is so steadfast that you do, I don't know, a background check on every single person that you come into contact with, you must be fun at parties. Would I personally love to surround myself with MAGA people and be in their company constantly? Well, no, but I'm sure there have been times where I have been surrounded by them and not been aware of it and thought that the person I was talking to was a very nice person.
I agree. To claim that Taylor can't associate with a Republican or a liberal just because some fans disagree with their politics is ridiculous. ridiculous. So close-minded coming from people who constantly preach about being open-minded, tolerant. Really?
An album about like an idealized form of like what is a typical American family, ideally, of like living in a suburb, being in a monogamous relationship, finding peace and joy, and basically just kind of being a housewife. Those are Republican virtues. It is distasteful to release an album that and have not commented on any of the bad shit going on that celebrates how ideal and good your life is.
She's also a businesswoman, a very successful one at that, but he claims that her lyrics here about wanting to have children with Travis Kelce were somehow Republican coded, right? We've heard that from a previous TikTok in the last video. And apparently, a woman writing about love, about family, or the idea of motherhood, it's now treated as a betrayal to some random liberal TikToker. Because why exactly? Because she's straight? Or trigger warning, Gaylors? What is so shocking about a woman writing songs about wanting kids now that she's getting married? That does not make her any less of a feminist, by the way. True feminism is about choice. Focus on your career if you want. Get married, have children if you want, if that's what fulfills you. Not all women want to be wives. Not all women want to be mothers. Just like not all men want to get married or have kids. Some couples can't have kids. Some couples just want to be together, but not get married. But some do. That does not make them automatically conservative.
The people in the photo, Taylor Lewin, Will Compton, are former NFL players. They have a podcast called Bussin' with the Boys. Travis Kelce, one of the podcast guests, is engaged to Taylor Swift. That makes him directly connected to Taylor Swift. A picture does not equal an endorsement. Standing next to someone does not sign off on their ideology. What it does mean is that Taylor Swift is navigating her career with grace and professionalism. That has made her the most powerful woman in music. Taylor Swift is a businesswoman. She's one of the most famous people on the planet. Every time she steps into an arena, a restaurant, a locker room, cameras flash. Taylor's job is to connect with millions of people.
The fact that Taylor is expressing something traditionally feminine now must mean that she is conservative and MAGA. I think this says a lot more about the critics than it does about Taylor. It shows how trapped people are in their own worldviews, how they can't even imagine a woman being feminine or romantic without assigning her to a party. You look within any group, like MAGA for example, you'll find all kinds of people, contrary to popular belief. Black and white, gay and straight, and there are plenty of liberal women who are married and have children. But now, of course, with this strange twist, we do have some conservatives who are trying to claim her as one of their own because she is getting married. That automatically makes her conservative. Yes, marriage and family are part of traditional values, especially in Christian conservative circles. That's true, but wanting to build a family does not require you to join a political party. Taylor has supported Biden, has supported Kamala. I'll give you an example also of some families who are not conservative.
I have the best news ever.
What? Donald Trump died?
Second best news.
Vice President died?
Okay, third best news.
That Elon Musk died?
Okay, no. My best friend's getting married. Taylor Swift! Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce got engaged!
These kids hear so much hatred at home that their first reaction to good news is that someone has died, someone that mom disagrees with politically. So the next best thing is Taylor Swift, a random celebrity who the mother does not know personally, but refers to her as her best friend, is getting married. So this is teaching children that empathy only applies to people that you agree with. And now back to these TikTokers. If Outrage paid the rent, this part of the internet would be just as rich as Taylor. All they ever do is complain and find offense in everything. Everyone demands she joins their side, and some have forgotten about separating the art from the artist. I personally listen to a lot of pop stars, watch a lot of actors, actresses whose views I do not share. If they want to post one of those dumb Instagram infographics, but continue to make good music, for example, fine. If someone commits something truly horrific, of course you draw a line. But voting for a certain candidate I disagree with, or you disagree with, is not evil. Being on the right or the left does not mean you can't express yourself or respect someone else's right to express themselves. Taylor has endorsed Kamala, and she's also remained friends with people who voted for Trump. So what? And if she did move slightly more to the right, you'll live. She did not demonize half the country also during election season, unlike a lot of celebrities, which I can respect. That is what a mature American voter looks like, and the delusional liberals crying rivers about it need to grow up.
Why are we sharing what you are saying is the best piece of work you've ever put out and you're gonna share it with a man? We are creeping our way down the conservative pipeline, and before you say that's a reach, I'm not done. She's doing what he wants everyone else to do, is to get married and have white babies.
Okay, now this woman claims it's conservative for Taylor to share her success with a man, to say that she wants babies with Travis, and that she wants her kids to look like him. And I'm just wondering, who do you expect the children to look like? They're not going to come out half black, are they? Or half Asian? They are both white, so the children will be white. Why did you feel the need to specify white babies? Taylor didn't make it about race, yet you, being obsessed with race, of course, had to.
They want a fat ass and a baby face. They want freedom. They want 3 dogs they call their kids. But I just want you. Have a couple kids, have the whole block looking like you. And say that again. I want to have your white babies, and I actually want our entire neighborhood to be racially homogenous. She went through this entire thing with Trump, right? About how she and her fan base did not like being called childless cat ladies. And now Taylor is calling y'all childless cat ladies because she's about to pop out some kids.
Why the shade? Weren't you just like the proud cat mom? Like childless cat mom, childless cat lady? I'm so confused. I want the whole neighborhood looking like you, like in this climate.
Now, I actually did find this a bit hypocritical when I first heard these lyrics, that in one of her songs she jokes about people wanting those animals, calling them their kids, while she wants real children with Travis, especially because of Taylor's older posts. But it's also consistent with how she's always been as an artist, right? Taylor has always written about love and breakups and finding something real. She once said she didn't believe in marriage, for example, is one of the lyrics, and then she admitted that, oh, that was a lie. So it makes sense that as her life changes, her music changes with it. And honestly, as a childless cat lady and dog lady, myself, I have 2 cats, 2 German Shepherds, no children. I don't think that animals are the same as human babies. Human babies are far louder, messier, and completely different from a cat who just naps and is quiet. But seriously, I agree with Taylor here. It is strange when people insist that their pets are their children. What I also agree with is that women should not be shamed either way. And to the conservatives who choose to shame women for not having kids, or shaming men for not having kids, I've seen that actually too recently. I promise you that will not bring more young women or men to your side. Not every woman wants children, not every man wants children. Taylor does, and that's fine too. She is not saying childless women are less than. She's simply expressing her own desires, which she has every right to do. Also, side note, why is it never childless dog ladies, or dog men, or cat men? Interesting. And another side note, whether you're a cat lady, or cat gentleman, or dog gentleman, don't put shock collars on your pets to keep them still while you live stream for hours. Cough, cough, Hassan, allegedly. If they want to move around while you film, let them. They are pets, not props, you psycho. Though I can't say I'm really shocked by that behavior.
America deserved 9/11, dude.
This also reminded me of this meme, right? It was popular a few years ago. I won, says the blonde woman with an award. The brunette, though, says no. You didn't, because she has a baby. And it's like, why can't they both win? Not every woman has the same version of happiness, and that's okay. What matters is that it's your choice, not something you are shamed into or out of. But that's what the left is playing into. This idea that they discourage women from starting a family just because it's traditional. The idea that fulfillment only looks one way is the exact mindset that keeps people divided and defensive. Another example, it's kind of weird. Fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child, and will guard your cats with my life. During this cat drama, this was from Elon Musk. I think you have to focus on the 14 other ones you already have, Elon, and your strained relationship with your trans child, for example. I think you have things to figure out before you offer more children. But jokes aside, tweets like this are exactly what keep women away from more conservative circles, especially online. This is weird. If the goal is to attract women to your side of the conversation, especially because we're claiming to care about declining birth rates and so on, this is not the way to do it. It's creepy, and it makes your entire movement look unserious. Also, like most of the songs on the album, I found Cancelled to be super cringy, but seeing what people have actually been canceled for over the years, you'd have to be crazy not to admit that it's gone too far. People are over it, over cancel culture, right? They don't care about being canceled. It does not hold the same power as it used to.
Taylor Swift is just coming out as MAGA with this new album. Why else would she have a song saying that she likes her friends being canceled and soaked in a scandal? That entire song is a MAGA mother's anthem.
Then there's the whole savage and bad controversy, which apparently is now a dog whistle. I don't know what timeline these people live in, but savage and bad have been used for years to describe someone being confident or cool, like you're that she's that he's a savage, right? We don't really say that as much anymore, but when we're saying savage, we're not actually talking about being animalistic or primitive, just cool. But this all sounds like what an older millennial thinks Gen Z talks like in 2025. That's why I think this writing, these lyrics are so weird, but regardless, it's not racist, it's just dated slang.
Canceled is an anthem for those who are over being politically correct, and we're breaking down the wall of shame that it means to be canceled. Taylor Swift says it's okay now to be canceled, and that's actually cool. And maybe if I'm canceled, I could be her friend. When I first heard the lyric, I'm not a bad and I'm not a savage, if that is not the most dog whistly I've ever heard in my life, and this is where I'm also going to answer your question, well, does she owe us her political opinions? She's just a pop star. Well, yes, she does. She is a white woman with one of the most massive platforms in our world today.
Which means what exactly? Have you thought about the fact that maybe she's so successful because she doesn't constantly talk about politics, speak about things that she just doesn't know much about, and focuses on her music? Could it be that? Or does every famous pop star also have to become a politician? Taylor does not owe anyone her political opinions just because she's white, or because she's a woman, or because she's famous and successful. That expectation that every white woman with a platform has to issue an apology or a political statement, that's bizarre. She's a musician. She's a person with her own beliefs who is allowed to be a little more complicated and not fit into a neat little box politically so that you can easily claim her for your side. A lot of people compare this to Sydney Sweeney, and I agree it is very similar. Right after the jeans ad, conservatives were chanting, "One of us!" like they had finally discovered the perfect poster girl for their movement. The same woman who was selling her bathwater infused soap bars, she is the epitome of true conservative values, guys. It's a bit embarrassing. Now, I get it, conservatives are starved for representation in Hollywood. Most of the industry is very liberal, and the ones who are not, there's a lot of them by the way, often keep quiet because they want to keep working. That in itself is an issue, that people can't just be open about their beliefs without risking their careers. So idolizing someone because of the way they look, not their ideas or actions, also proves how desperate people are for validation from celebrities.
I'm about to be the friend that's too woke. Opalite made me feel nasty inside.
So the new Taylor Swift album is upsetting, and it's mostly upsetting to Black people. What does that mean? Okay, so I have been on an deliberate anti-racist journey for about 5 years now. Black people have been saying that this was about race, that she had lyrics that were white supremacist and racist and dog whistle, and I listened.
Okay. People want belonging more than truth, which is why so many people online, especially white women, they just gotta say, trust Black women no matter what, without ever stopping to think about what that actually means. They want a pat on the head, oh, good little white ally, white savior. If a Black woman said Taylor Swift is an intergalactic beetle sent here to destroy Earth, are we supposed to believe her simply because she is a Black woman? That is not progressive, right? You treat Black people like people as individuals, not automatically right or wrong just because of the color of their skin.
All of this Taylor Swift discourse has just proved that a lot of you guys are functionally illiterate, and it's showing. These takes are genuinely outrageous. I've seen maybe 2 or 3 lyrics that genuinely warrant criticism and are genuinely tone deaf. Most of them do not. One of the world's simplest metaphors for falling in love, aka going from darkness into the light, is somehow being misconstrued for racism, which again is ridiculous. Opalite being Travis's birthstone, Opalite being man-made opal, Taylor herself having described the song as about how happiness can be man-made after, years of heartbreak and trouble in different relationships. So yeah, a lot of you guys need to go back to class.
So if a Black woman or a person of color is telling you that something is racist, something is microaggressive, something is not sitting with them the right way, that is not the time for you as a white person to open your mouth.
To also share your opinion, right? No, shut up. The Black women are speaking. Okay.
When a Black person or a person of color says that something is racist, that is not when we go, hey, actually, no. We have to sit with that and reflect and go, why didn't I think of it that way? How can I do better in the future? How can I call this out? How can I, etc., etc. There is work that has to be done. There is work that needs to be done.
Oh my goodness, really, girl? Yeah, so the work is to put the phone down. Go outside. What about that Black woman that we just heard from who said that this is crazy to view these lyrics as racist? Should we not listen to her? Which Black women do we listen to? What if 2 different Black women have 2 different opinions? Have you thought about that, white savior? Or maybe you didn't get that far. Okay.
Taylor Swift is obsessed with Black women. Let's talk about it. Taylor Swift is obsessed with the fact that several of her exes have moved on to date Black women, and she perceives this kind of conquering of Travis as an end or disruption of this pattern, and she's boasting about it in this album.
Taylor Swift knows she's not Travis Kelce's type, and that's what the album gave me. So not only was the album trash and the lyrics were trash, it gave I'm jealous because I'm not my future husband's type. You look at his dating history, you see all these beautiful women. You look down her dating history, you see all these mediocre looking men, and then you get to the end and Travis is her best pull. You look at Travis's dating history and she is his worst pull. He settled for her looks wise because she's a very famous singer and a billionaire, which honestly, that's game. I'm jealous and I'm insecure, but I want to have your babies and you're mine and your is so big. And I was just like, is this Taylor Swift or Sabrina Carpenter? And I can't even compare her to Sabrina Carpenter because that would be so insulting to Sabrina, because that's Sabrina's niche, that very sexualized pop, and she eats at it. It seemed like Taylor Swift was taking a page out of her book, but then using like a Blake Lively view on it.
I agree with most of what she said about Sabrina and how Taylor was trying to channel the spirit of Sabrina here, and it just didn't really work. But why are we turning these relationships into competitions between women? Attraction is not a spreadsheet, making it about race and about looks and, oh, let's compare his exes to Taylor and her exes. Also, by the way, your current boyfriend or girlfriend, they could look different from your exes. People date who they are attracted to, who they connect with. But the obsession with ranking women by appearance or comparing them, a compliment given to one woman at the expense of another is not really a compliment. It's just gross.
Swift has revealed herself to be resentful of Black women, or at least deeply insecure when it comes to comparing herself to Black women.
Far left, we lost the election because of you, even through your darkest Onyx night, and now the sky is opal light. Far left right now trying to drag her for these lyrics.
And they said, no, that actually is talking about the races of his exes. Well, yeah, if you think everything's about race, then simply saying, yeah, it's black and white. What do you mean by that? It's black and white. You mean black people and white people? Why didn't you just say black? Oh, you're secretly a racist. I mean, if you view the world through that lens, then yeah, everything's about race and sucks to be you. But here are some more sane takes.
I have to wonder how it must look to an independent or to a moderate Democrat or just people who aren't that engaged in politics for the left to be saying that Taylor Swift, somebody who endorses Democrats every single year, that her new album is a conservative pipeline. And even worse, for one of this creator's examples to be that Taylor Swift is racist because she's excited to have kids and she's excited for those kids to look like her fiance. I hate to say it, but this is kind of the left-wing equivalent when Republicans said it was woke that the green M&M wasn't dressed sexy anymore.
I remember that.
Taylor Swift's new album is proof positive that normal people are winning the culture war. As this woman is being clowned on for this album being too right-wing or too MAGA, she didn't really say anything all that insane.
I don't know. I guess I'm not woke, okay?
Now, Taylor has also given into the extremist mob before, unfortunately. One example is during her anti-hero video, she used the word fat on the scale. Some people called it anti-fat because they said it implied that being fat is a negative thing, which, hi, welcome to Earth, it is. If we're being honest about health, which is important to do, especially in America, where obesity is a public health crisis, being severely overweight does take a toll on your body, on your overall well-being. We do not have to lie to people, especially to young women, about that. There's speculation surrounding the reasoning behind the removal of those frames comes from online debate over the scene, which has since been labeled by some as anti-fat because of the indication that being fat is a negative thing. In an Instagram post promoting the release of the music video, which she wrote and directed, Swift says the visual treatment was reflective of her own nightmare scenarios and intrusive thoughts playing out in real time. Within that context, the video matches the song's introspective and analytical lyrics, which include lines such as, "Sometimes I feel like everybody is a sexy baby, and I'm a monster on the hill." Lyrical genius. I didn't know if I was going to feel comfortable with talking about body image and talking about the stuff I've gone through in terms of how unhealthy that's been for me, my relationship with food and all of that over the years, she said. But the way that Lana Wilson, the film's director, tells the story, it really makes sense. I'm not as articulate as I should be about this topic because there are so many people who could talk about it in a better way, but all I know is my own experience, and my relationship with food was exactly the same psychology that I applied to everything else in my life. If I was given a pat on the head, I registered that as good. If I was given a punishment, I registered that as bad. That context makes perfect sense, but apparently that nuance does not matter. The outrage won, and the word fat was edited out, and the fact that she couldn't even share her own experience with food, with weight gain or weight loss, because someone online decided to take it personally, that is ridiculous. ridiculous. That is censorship. Not everything in art has to comfort you. Sometimes it's meant to reveal something uncomfortable, like the truth for those who are severely overweight and think that's a great thing, that she should have seen the word fat and started jumping for joy. That's what makes art meaningful. Not everything is meant to coddle you, by the way.
Influencers and celebrities do not owe you their political stance. Actually, nobody owes you their political stance. You can't expect people to stand up for what you believe in and then be disappointed and upset when they don't, especially when they're not political figures. All you're doing is creating a deeper divide because people don't feel comfortable sharing their opinions because you're going to crucify them for it. And I'm not saying people can't learn and grow. That's not true, but you can't set that expectation on them when that's not something that they're comfortable with. All you're doing is bucketing people into categories because they don't completely align with what you believe in.
You zoom out from Taylor and it stops just being about her. It becomes a reflection of how people behave online. Outrage is what matters now. It's not about who's right, it's about who can complain the loudest. This really offended me. She said fat, she's white, she's dating a man, she wants kids. Oh, the horror. I learned that what's important is not replacing one label with another. The moment you stop declaring a team, that's where there's freedom to actually think for yourself. But for many people, neutrality means betrayal. Aw, you have to pick a tribe. That's what politics has turned into, right? It's a team sport where everyone wants to win, even if no one is actually thinking anymore. Taylor's an evil feminist witch? Okay, that's what my side's saying. I guess they're right. She's a sexist, homophobic bigot? Okay, sure.
There's a certain flavor of woke that like teeter-tots around the line of a god complex. And some of y'all have that real bad. Some of y'all move through this world like you have won this internal battle that everyone else is losing. And you think that like you're the chosen one.
You hate the rich and want to tax the rich, but you idolize rich celebrities who will never know your name and you buy all their merchandise to make them even more wealthy. You want everybody to be treated equally, but you are always the first person to point out everybody's differences, whether that's their skin color, their sexual orientation, or their religion.
Even just looking at these lyrics from these mediocre love songs, my opinion, I know some people think it's amazing, whatever. Everything was about race. It's all white supremacy. It's all sexism. It's all bigotry. What? It's just really not, though. And if you think that you need help.
I walked away in 2021 because I saw what I thought was a liberal movement turn to a woke movement, which was actually more of a fascist movement, especially when they started trying to silence or cancel anyone who disagreed with them on literally anything.
In Charlie's case, with a bullet. Or they tried to do it with Trump, too.
Democratic fatigue is a real thing. Like, they lost millions of voters over the last couple of years, and after this whole Charlie Kirk thing, they lost so much more. You know, people are just tired of the extreme views. People are tired of the constant yelling. They're tired of being called a fascist while that person is actually demonstrating all of the characteristics of an actual fascist.
With the Charlie Kirk situation, that is exactly what happens when people become radicalized, especially by their feeds. In response, also, there was even a planned attack on a pride parade because some man blamed gay people for Charlie Kirk's death, and thankfully did not happen, but the fact that someone even planned it is horrifying. They want to take that pain out on someone else or a group of people. For example, like Charlie, who expressed his beliefs respectfully. He always wanted to have debates. He became a target because some lunatic did not agree with him. Then that hate expands. They start blaming an entire group, right, based on sexuality or race or gender, anything. They blame that for every problem in their lives. And if you can't have a real debate, online or offline, that's not going to be productive. Many pretend to be open-minded, but then the second you say something that they don't like, it's a problem, like with Trump. You agree with him on some of his policies, fine. The left loses it, okay? But then sometimes you disagree, the right loses it. They're still far better at having conversations, not posting celebration videos after political violence like Charlie Kirk, but tensions are rising. And for some people, it has turned into straight-up worship of certain political figures as well. And that is weird, because the second you turn a politician into a savior, you stop thinking critically. Actually, before being murdered, Charlie posted about this political violence, assassination culture, as he called it. I also asked you guys if you've ever witnessed people celebrating political violence, and the responses really show the double standards that exist here. For example, I haven't commented online for years now. I never see the point because you never get through to people, and I'm worried now I'm getting a new job. What if I was seen commenting on posts? I'd get fired. I'm worried enough about them seeing who I follow. I've seen numerous people being attacked for showing sympathy to Charlie Kirk. So many people are afraid to express basic empathy online because they know it could cost them their jobs, their reputation. A lot of celebrities feel this way as well. Imagine being scared to say, yeah, I saw someone dying, that was sad. I may have disagreed with them, but they shouldn't have been murdered for their political beliefs. Yet some people, the same people who preach tolerance, are celebrating his murder publicly. That's the hypocrisy people are tired of. My sister has the uncensored version of his death saved on her phone. She's watched it a bunch of times, thinks he was a hateful person, and he had it coming. Again, you can disagree with someone's politics, you can even despise their opinions, but the moment you start start celebrating their death, you've become exactly what you claim to hate. A hateful person. You can't really claim to stand for empathy while justifying political violence. I was at school during a class on political communications and media when Charlie Kirk died. My professor justified it by saying that he deserved it with his rhetoric. Some students were laughing, cheering, applauding. 2 days later, I went to work and my older female coworker said they were gonna buy wine to celebrate. Celebrating a man's death in front of students, also great sign. It's not education, it's indoctrination. This kind of mindset is spreading into the workplace, into classrooms.
Is anyone else just completely drained and exhausted about all the political back and forth going on?
Well, I think it's official. I'm tired of hearing about politics. I'm tired of the divide, of the fighting and bickering back and forth between everybody.
Leo's racist, Leo's this, Leo's that. Shut the up.
Let's talk about this liberal fatigue, because guys, this whole like Hitler, dictator, fascist narrative, like it's dead, it's done, it doesn't work. If you want to know the truth, if you want to know what party really behaves like fascists, you guys need to be looking at your own party.
People are tired. People are tired of picking sides. It's not just politics anymore. It's identity. For so many of these people, the line between what you believe and who you are completely blurred for some individuals. And that's why they take it so personally. Oh, this person, they're MAGA. Oh, this person, they're a liberal. Oh, so that means they hate me. No, actually, it means you may have disagreements and you can talk about it civilly. Can we do that? Can we try to do that? You can still choose discernment over division. Live and let live. Agree to disagree. Remember that? It's still allowed, or at least it should be.
Why is it that you can't have a normal conversation with somebody on the left? It's like, if you don't agree with what they say, they freak the f out. And it's like, everybody can agree to disagree. If y'all actually talk to me, y'all would know that I agree with some things on the left and I agree with some things on the right. And y'all immediately go to Trump, and now I'm a Trumpy, and y'all don't want to hear what I have to say, and now I'm racist, and now I want to be white, and I like all this shit, you know what I'm saying? That's why I can't talk to nobody on the left, because they can't even hear you out what you have to say. Y'all go straight to like attacking, having such bad attitudes. It's like we can't even have a normal, like, not even a debate, just like a normal conversation about it.
And that's why, again, you see people attacking celebrities like Taylor. God forbid she disagrees with them politically. It's like you can't even enjoy her music anymore. I don't know how you could have enjoyed her music in the first place, but Taylor will be fine. I've never been a fan of her music, but I respect how she has carried herself throughout the years. I just hope she doesn't give in, again, to the outrage crowd being called a bigot for wanting to get married, start a family, or write love songs. This is insane, guys. Yeah, people need a reality check. People who are always trying to call others homophobic are being heterophobic. You're sharing this with a man? You want to get married to a man? Do you want to have kids? How about we stop hating people for being straight or gay? Crazy concept. How about we actually focus on what kind of person they are instead of their sexuality or their race? People online especially will call her fatphobic. You're a feminist. This is wrong. No, actually, you're a sexist. You're a racist. You're right. You're wrong. You're up. You're down. People will always have something to complain about. You cannot please everyone, and neither can Taylor. Most of these people just want you to be a mirror for their own preferences. Not gonna happen. Even praise isn't about you, it's about them. It reflects their taste, what they like. It doesn't reflect your purpose, and the criticism, most of the time, it just exposes someone else's discomfort, not necessarily the truth. You're going to be judged no matter what, so stop chasing approval from random people online or from random celebrities, especially when it comes to politics. The constant outrage, it's just exhausting. Some people are so desperate to be offended that they go looking for it, and that's why they are miserable. They can't even enjoy a song without making it political, making it offensive. It cheapens real conversations also about sexism, about racism, and I've lived through that lens before, trying to look for that in everything. It's exhausting, okay? Would not recommend. And it's not just one-sided. Sure, one might be louder, it's more tolerated right now, but shaming people for not being conservative enough, for not agreeing with every political figure you like, or for not expressing themselves the right way because of their gender, their sexuality, whatever it is. It's the same problem, just in a different costume. We need to bring back respectful conversations, actually hear people out. Stop trying to silence anyone who we disagree with. It's very easy to fall into this tunnel vision when you are only surrounding yourself with one kind of person, online or offline. But if we want to fix anything or even just stay sane, grounded, we have to start thinking for ourselves again. And that's all for today's video, guys. You let me know what you think in the comments below. Also remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on my other socials, check out my merch, everything is linked below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.